Brooke and Andre's divorce, plus Ally McBeal on ET.
NATO steps up its bombing. The U.S. is sending many more warplanes amid new fears that the Balkan War may be spreading.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting tonight from Yugoslavia.
Good evening from Belgrade. 3 full weeks into the Allied air war against Yugoslavia, and the momentum is still building. NATO planes are pounding especially hard now at Serbian fuel and transportation centers around Belgrade and throughout the country in an effort to, as NATO puts it, grind down the Milosevic war machine. And as NATO continues to work to cut off Serbian forces in the southern province of Kosovo, there are reports from there today of the war possibly spilling over a border. According to the Albanian government, Serb forces crossed over into Albania early today and exchanged heavy gunfire with Albanian forces. Late in the day, the Serb forces withdrew, but U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright in Oslo emphasized the U.S. will not allow the conflict to spread into Albania. NATO continued its serious business, pounding Serbia through the night and into the early morning hours. Major oil refineries were hit once again, so were factories and army barracks. And although Serb TV showed these pictures of anti-aircraft fire, NATO reported that all of its planes had returned safely. There is no let-up in NATO's air campaign, no let-up in the Serbs' defiance, and no let-up either in these images of a country under attack. Yugoslavia's main communication earth station at Ivanica has been completely demolished. NATO says it is a military target. Parts of Kosovo's capital of Pristina have been reduced to rubble. And Serb TV showed these pictures of another bridge destroyed. This one, the Serbs say, served a ski resort. But NATO insists that its campaign is not against the Yugoslav people, but against Milosevic and his military. From the beginning, there have been fears that this war would spread from Serbia throughout the Balkans. There were reports today that that may be happening. To put them in perspective for you, CBS News correspondent Mark Phillips is in Albania.
Not just refugees, but the war has now spilled over into Albania. Yugoslav forces have been shelling Albanian villages used as staging areas by the Kosovo Liberation Army, and today reportedly invaded one briefly before withdrawing. The KLA wounded have been brought to Tirana, where their leadership fears the motive behind the Serb attacks.
What they intend to is to provoke Albania into the conflict and create a new problem, a bigger problem.
The KLA is recruiting desperately, and each ferry arriving here carries new recruits, most Kosovars who've been working elsewhere in Europe. But the recruiting starts even further away. These farewells were said in New York, where about 400 have signed up, calling themselves the Atlantic Brigade.
Well, I'm going because it's my land. And you saw on TV what's going on over there, killing kids, women. I'm going to protect them.
But for all their good intentions, recruits arrive here to join a force that is more enthusiastic than effective. The KLA may have willing recruits and, it says, the heart for a fight, but here's what it doesn't have: heavy weapons, a competent command structure, or any significant battle experience. And the fight, it says, will now be harder because the Serbs have dug in around captive Kosovar civilians.
How do you launch a shell into the Serb position if all around it are Albanian civilians? So it's very specific. Fighting Serbs is a very nasty job.
It'll take a massive investment in training and equipment before the KLA are seen here as the arrival of the cavalry. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Durrës, Albania.
This afternoon, I had an exclusive interview with the Yugoslav foreign minister. Among other things, he twice flatly denied that his army has taken any Albanian villages. Is it true or untrue that Yugoslav forces have moved into 2 Albanian villages clearly across the border into Albania?
It is not true. This is a kind of fabrication to present Yugoslavia as not constructive country. What is true, it is today the 4th consecutive day that Yugoslav territory has been under aggression from Albanian territory.
But I want to make sure I understand. It is not true that the Yugoslav army took these villages.
It is not true.
Tell me, Mr. Foreign Minister, what it is that you believe Americans don't know about this situation that it is vital for them to know.
First of all, many of them don't know even where this country is. They, for instance, don't know that this is a peace-loving country. The problems in Kosovo and Metohija have never been in the sphere of human rights or the rights of national minorities. It has been, for some time now, the problems emanating from terrorism and separatism. Certain power-greedy leaders of Albanian community in Kosovo and Metohija came up with a program of separation to take Kosovo and Metohija out of Serbia and to take it by arms.
President Clinton, in a recent interview that I did with him, disputes this. And he said most forcefully, from his point of view, this was going to happen and that we, meaning the United States and NATO, stepped in to do our best to stop it. What you've outlined to me is the direct opposite of that.
Mr. Clinton is #1 responsible for this aggression, and there are no justification at all for destroying this country, for killing people all over Yugoslavia. How can one justify, let's say, ruining schools, hospitals, ruining roads? Only yesterday they have destroyed 6 bridges in Yugoslavia. How to justify bombing the bridge with a civilian international passengers train, killing instantly 11 people, wounding about 20 people?
Can you give us any hope, Mr. Foreign Minister, that this is going to end anytime soon?
The question should be directed to those who decided to make this aggression. But aggression, let me tell you, I don't know. Aggression is destroying this country, destroying what has been constructed and worked out by hardships here over centuries. It is being destroyed in a matter of days.
After 3 weeks of an intensive bombing campaign, NATO plans to add more warplanes, lots of them. David Martin has details from the Pentagon.
NATO has destroyed oil refineries and blown up ammo dumps, but it's not nearly enough. So the U.S. and its allies plan to commit several hundred more aircraft, bringing the total to 1,000. That will require the president to start calling reservists to active duty.
There may need to be a call-up for that would include pilots to fly some of the tankers. Many of the tankers are flown by reservists.
So far, airstrikes have destroyed 11 bridges to cut the military supply lines. But in one instance, the casualties were civilians aboard a passenger train, victims of an accident of war, which today was replayed by the commander of NATO.
Look very intently at the aim point, concentrate right there, and you can see how, if you were focused right on your job as a pilot, suddenly that train appeared.
Viewed in slow motion, the bomb, launched from miles away, zeroes in on a railway bridge. And at the last second, the train crosses the bridge.
And unfortunately, he couldn't dump the bomb at that point. It's one of those regrettable things that happen in a campaign like this, and we're all very sorry for it.
A tragedy of war dwarfed by the ethnic cleansing of Kosovo, where hundreds of thousands of refugees remain trapped. NATO is trying to come up with a way of getting relief supplies to them, but the task is overwhelming.
We're talking 250,000 people. It's between 60 and 100 flights per day of substantial-sized cargo aircraft to deliver the kinds of food that's needed to sustain them.
No one yet knows how much this war will cost or how long it will take. But the White House is expected to ask Congress for at least $5 billion to keep the operation going until the end of the fiscal year next October. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Standing in the rain and darkness on a bridge that may be bombed may be Belgrade's most genuine show of defiance. This is the bridge over the Sava River. It runs from the old part of Belgrade to the newer part where all the high-rises and glassed-in places are. These people come and stand mostly mutely listening to the music. What these people do is they stand here with the target sign on themselves or wear one of these target buttons, which have become kind of the new national symbol of Serbia. And you ask them what's it about, and they'll tell you in a minute.
This is not about Kosovo, this is not about Milosevic. Let's speak truly. This tragedy, this refugee tragedy started when bombs came down.
We will be fighting to the end and will be winner.
Are you angry?
Yes, very angry. I don't know what they want here. I wasn't going to America to shoot any American men.
Serbia!
And the collective view here is that you can kill us, but you cannot kill our spirit or our country. There'll be more of the CBS Evening News in a moment.
Announcing a new way to see, near and far, the way nature intended. Introducing the revolutionary AccuView bifocal contact lens with pupil-intelligent design. New AccuView bifocal. Visit your eye care professional or call us for more information.
With locations in over 1,800 cities and towns, there's always a Days Inn hotel nearby. Wherever you're going, wherever you're from. Days Inn. There you go.
I became interested in working in the brokerage industry when I was very young. I went to Harvard. I majored in economics. We had a last trade at 59 and 7/16. That was down 4 and 3/16 on the day. Throughout my life, I've had to work hard and had to focus to get where I am, and I'm going to bring that ethic to my job here at Schwab. Charles Schwab, Adam, 122998. Anytime you have a company that's been this successful at Schwab, obviously the employees are driving that, and I hope that I benefit Schwab in their growth and in their success, and I will.
Out here, I'm in command. So am I supposed to say, slow down, guys, I'm constipated? I don't think so. You try to eat right. Sometimes you can't. Harsh chemical laxatives, they can kick in whenever and wherever. Not an option. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. It's got 100% natural fiber. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
Metamucil, the doctor's natural choice for regularity.
The Clinton administration spent the day shoring up support for its sustained bombing campaign. Scott Pelley has more details from the White House.
Today, the president summoned more than 50 members of Congress to tell them that the air campaign must and will prevail. In the Rose Garden, Mr. Clinton said the bombardment is moving to a new level of force.
Our campaign is diminishing and grinding down Mr. Milosevic's military capabilities. We have reduced his ability to move, sustain, and supply the war machine in Kosovo.
But some lawmakers are now beginning to express disappointment that weeks of bombing have not broken the back of Milosevic.
I think there's a general feeling in the Congress and with the American people that they had hoped for more success with the bombing or a quicker resolution. I think, frankly, that was a pipe dream to begin with.
Still, Mr. Clinton told lawmakers he is committed to the air campaign alone. The administration repeated emphatically today that there is no intention to put combat troops on the ground. Scott Pelley, CBS News, the White House.
After sealing off Kosovo's borders for about a week to prevent refugees from fleeing into other countries, Serbia reopened the borders to Albania and Macedonia. Thousands are streaming into those countries, already overflowing with refugees. Jim Axelrod is in Macedonia.
In front of tent number 15 at the Stenkovitz refugee camp is an incomplete family portrait. 10 Umedi children, no Umedi parents. We don't know what's happened to the parents, says this woman who comes from a neighboring town in Kosovo. The children escaped from the village while the bullets flew. In the camps of northern Macedonia, this, say relief workers, is now the most pressing problem. Parents and children pulled apart in the swirl of the ethnic Albanian exodus.
Today we had, I don't know, 200 or 300 or maybe more. There are many cases like that.
Relief workers say this problem has roots on both sides of the Kosovo-Macedonia border, that a good number of families were split apart after they safely crossed over. and that Macedonian authorities made a bad situation worse.
The separation has been done by the Macedonian authorities by force, and I think that this has created a huge problem for the families and for the children, of course.
No agency can even guess at the total number separated. Workers go tent by tent, compiling a crude database. Matches are made, but they are rare, sometimes brokered by television.
These are the tears of an 11-year-old girl who's been separated from her mother for 10 days.
The girl's mother, sheltered in a private home, heard of this report and rushed to the camp. I don't, she says. I don't have words for those feelings. The Umeris, still separated by chaos and hatred, don't have the words either. But these are not tears of joy. You won't find any of those inside the darkened world of Tent 15. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, Stenkovitz.
I'll be back later in the broadcast with more from Belgrade under siege. Up next on the CBS Evening News, John Roberts in a moment with more of the day's news.
You're the perfect pair.
An everlasting love, this will be.
Get together for delicious lobster and shrimp. Side by side for a short time, priced at just $12.99. Escape to Red Lobster.
That the party of the first part did not intend for the party of the second.
I should have used Preparation H.
If you had, you wouldn't be suffering now. Preparation H helps stop itch and further irritation with a soothing layer of protection.
I should have used Preparation H.
Stops itch, stops irritation.
Life's an adventure because you're over 50 and still exploring. So take the Centrum made just for you, Centrum Silver, with age-essential nutrients specially adjusted to keep pace with your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
The party's in there, so why am I out here? Gas. Again.
Maximum Strength Phazime has 33% more medicine doctors recommend.
One little pill, and I'm back.
Serious medicine for serious gas. Phazime.
Recently, we flew Carrie Eisenhandler and her family to Johns Hopkins for surgery to correct a pre-existing heart condition. We flew Eric Gonzalez to the Cleveland Clinic because of their renowned expertise in treating Crohn's disease. Hopefully, these stories fly in the face of the belief that healthcare isn't what it used to be. We're Aetna U.S. Healthcare, raising the quality of healthcare in America.
He's not one to argue.
Well, no, don't skip past it. Did he violate the oath?
Okay, maybe he is. Lars Larson is now on KOIN 6 News with his opinions.
A surprise opponent of extending the independent counsel law has reportedly surfaced tonight. Ken Starr is said to be planning to tell Congress tomorrow that he too believes the law should be allowed to expire in June. Among other things, Starr is said to believe that the law authorizing independent counsels is unconstitutional and that the investigations cost too much and run too long. This was sentencing day in Michigan for Dr. Jack Kevorkian, convicted of second-degree murder for the euthanasia of a patient who wanted to die. CBS News law correspondent Kristen Jeanette Myers has the sentence and the courtroom drama today that led up to it.
Jack Kevorkian walked into court knowing he could end up in prison for the rest of his life. Last month, Kevorkian was convicted of second-degree murder for injecting Thomas Yauk, who suffered from Lou Gehrig's disease, with lethal drugs.
Tom, do you want to go ahead with this?
At today's sentencing, Yauk's widow, who supports Kevorkian, said her husband had less than a month to live and had asked for Kevorkian's help.
It was my husband's acknowledged choice, and it harmed no one but himself. My husband was grateful for the doctor's assistance to relieve his suffering and hasten his passing. Tom was not a victim. And to his mind, this was not a crime, and certainly not a murder.
But the judge saw it differently.
No one, sir, is above the law. No one.
She was particularly angered by Kevorkian's decision to go public with the tape of Yauk's death on CBS's 60 Minutes.
You had the audacity to go on national television, show the world what you did, and dare the legal system to stop you. Well, sir, consider yourself stopped.
With that, Kevorkian was sentenced to 10 to 25 years in prison. He was led away in handcuffs after the judge denied his request for bail. Under Michigan law, Kevorkian will not even be eligible for parole for almost 7 years, at which time Kevorkian would be about 78 years old. His lawyers vow to appeal on several issues, but if history is any guide, his chances are not good. Higher courts in Michigan have never been particularly sympathetic to Kevorkian and his legal challenges. John?
Kristen Jeanette Myers, thanks. Health news tonight about life-prolonging cancer drugs. An experimental skin cancer vaccine, tailor-made from a cancer patient's own cells, has been found to extend the lives of those with the deadliest form of skin cancer, advanced melanoma. And a follow-up study has found the recently approved drug Herceptin can add a few months of life for women with advanced breast cancer. On the CBS Market Watch, the cost of living. The government reported today that the consumer prices rose 0.2% in March. So far this year, inflation is running just 1.5%. That's even lower than last year. Rising far more rapidly than inflation are blue chip stock prices. The Dow 30 gained 55 points today to close at their 13th record high of the year.
While Johnny Kim was getting ready for the first customers of the day, someone else was looking at larger space for his growing business. At 3 o'clock, while the Curtis family was watching their daughter's soccer game, someone else was walking a prospective tenant through one of their apartment buildings. And while Carmen Delabar was preparing for a fashion show, someone else met with an appraiser about her investment property. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're realtors. Real estate is our life.
Yeah, I've been having this problem with my girlfriend. It's
diarrhea. Get it, and you want it gone.
Really good listener.
Imodium Advanced combines 2 medicines that relieve diarrhea plus cramps and bloating faster.
Was I right to invite my mom to my honeymoon?
Absolutely. Imodium Advanced.
This is how the world feels when you have dry eyes. But now there's new Visine Tears with a unique Tears formula not found in other leading brands to make dry, scratchy eyes feel moist and comfortable. Visine Tears, it gets the dry out.
I never met a dog I didn't like, which is a good thing, considering some of the occupational hazards my friends put me through. This is mine. This is Herman. Ooh, what do we have here? A tick. That's why I choose Frontline for these guys. Frontline's the best, because it's the only one that protects them from fleas and disease-causing ticks, too. Sorry I kept you waiting. No matter who your best friend happens to be.
For fleas and ticks, veterinarians choose the Frontline of protection.
Okay, one more time.
I painted for over 12 years, so I can give great advice. You're going to have to scrape it, sand it, roll it, or hire the neighbor's kids. We are a real paint store. We've got the professionals. We know how to use the equipment. We've got sprayers. We have stains. We have things for indoors, outdoors. Oh, you come to the right place. We've got every kind of roller and brush. For this one, you're going to need a sprayer. We have the finest quality paints here at an excellent price. It's big. Who knows what paint to pick? I know what paint to pick.
She went to the hospital for treatment. Instead, doctors made her part of an experiment. She says it ruined her life. 48 Hours investigates Thursday.
A dangerous mix of drought and hot, dry, windy conditions in the southeast flared up again today. This time, some of the worst of it is in Florida. The governor declared a state of emergency as brush fires on both coasts of central Florida destroyed at least 1,400 acres, and South Florida was put on high alert. You saw the remarkable pictures from Atlanta last night. Well, tonight, the story of just what went through the minds of the rescuer and the rescued. It was during this daring scene of a crane operator reaching the end of his rope, trapped high in the sky over a fire, and the firefighter who came to get him, literally at the end of his rope, dangling from a helicopter.
Well, I knew I was trapped then, and I started praying. You know, I knew the only one who was going to save me was God.
While Ivor Sims' rescuer came from the sky, he was very human and businesslike.
Well, when he got there, he told me not to reach out to him. He was coming to me. And when he got there, we shook hands and introduced ourselves. And he told me what to do.
There we go. He's just brought him up.
But firefighter Matt Mosley says, don't call him a hero.
I was thrilled to do it. I've done a lot of training in this, and it was time to be in the big game, and
Anybody on the squad would have done it. Anybody in the fire department would have done it. Any firefighter across the nation would have done it.
Among those who think Mosley is a hero, the governor of Georgia, who officially honored the high-flying firefighter and his pilot today. Out of the big game with flying colors. In a moment, Dan Rather will be back from Belgrade with some final impressions about life in a city under siege.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through.
Have you seen Transitions lenses lately? Indoors, the changing tint is clearer. Outdoors, they're the darkest Transitions lenses ever. For all-day comfort and convenience, Transitions lenses, right in any light.
I'll be seeing you.
Visit our website or call 1-877-4-TRANSITIONS.
Around here, we like a salad with our dinner.
See, this is a monster piece of lettuce.
And the people who make craft dressings have always seemed to know what we like. You know, a lot of us grew up on the creamy taste of Kraft Ranch.
More.
And who knows, maybe they even know how good it feels when we see our kids dive into a salad. I guess they just know what we like. Around here, the dressing is Kraft.
Next time, call a Roto-Rooter plumber. When we make an appointment, we keep it.
Morning seems so much brighter after a good night's sleep. That's why I love my Tylenol PM. It stops my pain and helps me sleep. So in the morning, I'm rested, refreshed, ready to make the most of my day.
Rest easy. It's Tylenol PM.
With Days Inn hotels in over 1,800 cities and towns, finding a place to stay doesn't take a federal investigation. Days Inn. There you go.
Mother, time to scour the countryside. My constipation keeps me up all day, drowsy all night.
When constipation keeps you from your routine, Colace will get you flying right again.
Make no mistake, the nightly NATO bombings have made this a city under siege, by definition. But it is not a city with a siege mentality. Through almost a full decade of tough Western economic sanctions, Belgrade's economy managed to muddle through. And so far, the nightly bombings haven't stopped the city's business either. The lights stay on at night, people watch television, there's no shortage of food here. There's French perfume and Italian shoes. There is a shortage of gasoline, and given the bombing runs of recent days, gasoline probably will get scarcer, but it's available for a price. What the bombings have choked off is any sense of political give and take in this capital. It's hard, if not impossible now, to find anyone, at least publicly, who will criticize Slobodan Milosevic's resolve to stand up to NATO. And that increases the possibility that the bombings have given Milosevic what his strong-arm tactics could never achieve, and that is a genuine sense of national unity. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting from Belgrade. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
How will the crisis over Kosovo and America's involvement affect you, your family, your community? Finding the